The Emberfield rest stop, a seemingly unremarkable oasis on a desolate stretch of highway, was about to become the stage for an unforgettable drama. When retired Army Ranger Alex Carson stopped to grab a coffee, he had no idea he was about to be thrust into a different kind of battle. A young black girl and an older white man caught Alex's attention, and his finely tuned instincts screamed that something was wrong. But in a world where things aren't always as they seem, how could he be sure? And what hidden danger was lurking beneath the surface of this ordinary rest stop scene? Before we dive in, comment below where you're watching from today. If you enjoy stories of unexpected heroism, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned. The late afternoon sun hung low in the sky, painting long shadows across the endless fields flanking a rural stretch of highway. As the minutes crept closer to evening, the Emberfield rest stop came into view, a lone building standing resolutely against the backdrop of golden fields. The stop, complete with a small diner and convenience store, offered a brief sanctuary for weary travelers escaping the monotony of the road. Inside the diner, the atmosphere was subdued, the hum of fluorescent lights mixed with the clink of cutlery and the quiet murmurs of conversation. Plastic booths lined the walls, their faded upholstery hinting at years of service to countless patrons. Near the entrance, a coffee station steamed softly, and a row of vending machines hummed rhythmically in the corner. The door swung open, letting in a gust of cool air and drawing the attention of the room's few occupants. Alex Carson stepped inside, his sharp gaze swept across the diner, his movements purposeful yet unassuming, though no longer on duty. Years of military training had ingrained a habit of assessing his surroundings at every turn. Alex's gaze traveled across the room. A couple of truckers nursed cups of coffee in a corner booth, their heavy shoulders hunched against the day's weariness. An elderly woman picked at a slice of pie, her attention fixed on a crossword puzzle. Near the window, a man in a crisp navy suit read a newspaper, but it wasn't the man who caught Alex's attention. Seated across from him was a young black girl, no more than 8 years old. Her curly hair framed her small face, which was both strikingly solemn and darting with unease. She wore a bright red dress that starkly contrasted with her demeanor. Her large eyes flitted nervously around the room, never settling on one thing for too long, while her small hands fidgeted on the tabletop. Alex's eyes narrowed as he noted the strange dynamics between the pair. The man in the suit appeared calm, perhaps too calm, though his newspaper was held high. His eyes frequently peeked over its edge, watching the girl with an unsettling intensity. A flicker of unease tugged at Alex. The girl's posture spoke volumes. Her shoulders were hunched, her frame stiff, as though she wanted to disappear into her seat, though there were any number of benign explanations for the scene. A family member, perhaps, or a guardian. The dynamic between the two struck a discordant note. The man's air of control and the girl's quiet discomfort nagged at Alex's instincts. He reminded himself to stay level-headed. Appearances can deceive, after all. Still, he made his way to the counter, ordered a coffee, and positioned himself near the vending machines where he could observe discreetly. As he sipped his coffee, Alex saw the girl's hands tremble slightly as they rested on the table. At one point, her fingers spread wide and her palm tilted upward in a subtle, almost imperceptible movement. The action was so brief Alex almost missed it, but it piqued his interest. Could it be a signal? His training had taught him to spot distress signals, especially in high-stakes situations. When her eyes briefly met his, Alex felt a jolt. Fear and desperation flickered in her gaze before she quickly looked away. Alex's instincts screamed at him that something wasn't right. His years of experience in combat zones had taught him to trust his gut. And right now, his gut was telling him to keep watching. He shifted slightly, angling himself to keep an unobstructed view of the pair. The girl's small frame seemed to shrink further under the man's occasional glances. The contrast between them, the girl's fragility and the man's poised, almost predatory calm, gnawed at Alex. He weighed his options carefully. Approaching them directly could cause unnecessary panic, especially if his suspicions were unfounded, but doing nothing felt equally wrong. A pivotal moment came when the girl repeated her earlier gesture, a small hand signal. Her fingers splayed wide. This time, her movements were less subtle, and her eyes darted toward Alex as if willing him to notice. The man leaned closer, murmuring something inaudible. The girl's posture grew even stiffer, and her face contorted briefly as though she were holding back tears. Alex's grip on his coffee cup tightened. He wasn't leaving, not until he was sure. After a few agonizing minutes of observation, Alex decided to approach the table. His steps were measured, his expression neutral but firm. "Hey there," he said, addressing both the man and the girl. "Is everything okay here?" The man in the suit looked up, his composed mask briefly slipping into surprise before he recovered. "Everything's fine," he said smoothly, his voice exuding false warmth. "Just spending some quality time with my niece." Alex's sharp eyes flicked to the girl, who refused to look up. "Is that right?" Alex asked gently, crouching slightly to bring himself closer to her level. "Are you okay, kiddo?" The girl hesitated, her lips parting as if to speak, but then her eyes darted nervously to the man, and she nodded stiffly. "Yes," she whispered, though her tone betrayed her fear. Alex knew the girl's response was forced. He stepped back, outwardly appearing to accept their explanation but inwardly determined to act. He exited the diner, pulling out his phone the moment he reached the parking lot. Dialing 911, he provided a detailed account of what he had seen, describing both the man and the girl. "I'm a former Army Ranger," Alex told the operator, "and I'm certain something's not right here. Please send someone quickly." Moments later, sirens echoed in the distance. Alex felt a rush of relief as 2 police cars pulled into the rest stop. He moved quickly to guide the officers toward the diner, recounting the situation in clipped, precise terms. Inside, chaos erupted as the officers approached the table. The man initially tried to maintain his composure, but as questions intensified, cracks in his story began to show. "She's my niece," he protested, but when the officers asked for proof of guardianship, he faltered. Meanwhile, the girl, whose name Alex later learned was Amelia, mustered the courage to speak. In a trembling voice, she said, "I need help. I'm scared." With Amelia's words, the officers had enough to act. The man was handcuffed and escorted out, his protests growing more frantic as he was led to a patrol car. Amelia remained in the diner, visibly shaken but finally safe. At the police station, the truth unraveled. The man, whose name was Richard, had abducted Amelia from her daycare earlier that day. Intending to flee the state, Amelia's biological father, Thomas, was contacted and arrived at the station in tears. "Daddy," Amelia cried as she ran into his arms, her small body trembling with relief. Thomas turned to Alex, his gratitude spilling over. "You saved my daughter's life," he said, his voice cracking. "I can never thank you enough." Alex, ever humble, replied, "I just did what needed to be done." Days later, Alex attended a backyard barbecue at Thomas's home. Laughter and the smell of grilled food filled the air. Amelia played happily with other children, her bright red dress replaced by overalls and sneakers. As Alex stood beside the grill, Thomas approached him, holding 2 beers. "You didn't just save her life, Alex," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "You saved mine too." The evening ended with smiles and heartfelt thanks. Driving away, Alex felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His instincts had been right, and his decision to act had made all the difference. Sometimes, the battles we fight aren't on foreign soil but in the quiet corners of our everyday lives. And sometimes, the choice to step forward changes everything. If you found Alex's story of courage and vigilance inspiring, click here for another tale of heroism and resilience. Don't miss it.